Good morning, dear compatriots, friends, colleagues and followers of Israeli Armenian's YouTube channel. Today I decided to create my first video in English, providing an opportunity for the English-speaking audience to analyze current realities. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Artiom Chernamorian, an international journalist, analyst and historian. My career began in 1995 with the publication of my first article during my studies as an archaeologist and historian. I later shifted my focus to writing about the political situation in Armenia, particularly the challenging social conditions in North Armenia after the devastating earthquake of 1988. For the past 20 years, I have been living in Israel, serving as a freelance correspondent of Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty in Israel, was working for the Armenian office of this radio station. During my time in Israel, I co-founded two non-governmental Armenian organizations, one of which Nairi, a union of Armenians in the city of Petah Tikva, continuing its works to these days. I will have an opportunity to share more about our projects in Petah Tikva at a later time. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share so that a longer audience can access and analyze the information I will present today, my dear friends. I have been broadcasting from Israel for almost 20 years as an international journalist. Currently, we are in the midst of the conflict in Israel against the terrorist organization Hamas. Despite the ongoing rocket attacks and terrorist threats from Hamas and Hezbollah, many international media outlets hesitate to label these organizations as terrorists. On May 28, the anniversary of the First Republic of Armenia, I launched my new YouTube channel called Israel and Azerbaijan, translating from Armenian as Israeli Armenians. I promise to cover interesting political, military, economic and cultural topics, while it may not be possible to produce such content frequently, as it's required time for in-depth research. Today's English video will be particularly engaging. In this video, we will delve into the anti-Armenian propaganda emerging in well-known Jewish press, fueled by Azeri support, and the disturbing rise of Armenophobia in Israel. It's intriguing to observe Armenophobia being wielded as a political weapon against one of the world's oldest civilizations and the first Christian country. The roots of anti-Armenian sentiment in Israel can be traced to the country's collaboration with Azerbaijan, specifically through arms deals with President Aliyev. Israel justifies its support for a Shia Muslim nation over Christian Armenian Republic by pointing to Armenians' friendship with Iran, a nation viewed as an adversary by Israel. However, it's noteworthy that in 2020, Iran, another Shia Muslim country, congratulated Azerbaijan on its victory against Armenia. The collaboration between Israel and Azerbaijan goes beyond arms deals. It involves the utilization of Azerbaijan territory for espionage activities directed at Iran's nuclear program and even attacks originating from Azerbaijani territory targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Periodically, anti-Armenian articles surface in the Israel press, often authored by Jewish journalists with ties to Baku or Aliyev regime. The pattern raises questions about the media's motivation, whether it's driven by reporters or media organizations themselves seeking financial gain. For example, an article published by Globes Israeli Business News on September 14, 2023 claimed that Israel Aerospace conducted a missile trial in Azerbaijan as a message to Iran, who supports Armenia in its conflict with Azerbaijan. This article, written by Israeli journalist Dean Shmuel Elmas, also reported on Israel airspace selling missiles and satellites to Azerbaijan. On November 16th, the Jerusalem Post, known for publishing anti-Armenian reports, ran a story about a synagogue in Armenia being set alight. This report, relying on Azerbaijan propaganda and ambassador of Azerbaijan in Germany, Nassim Aghayev's statements, turned out to be false. Fortunately, nothing happened to the synagogue. The Jerusalem Post did not contact the Jewish community of Armenia, opting for an unprofessional and inaccurate report. In another report, Jerusalem Post on November 16 published an article titled "Former Armenian Military and Government Official: I will help Hamas kill Jews." The article included a misleading photo of the Prime Minister of Armenia, Mr. Nikol Pashinyan, seemingly unrelated to the story. Political scientist Vladimir Pogosyan cited in this report in a private citizen and not a representative of the Armenian government. The Armenian community of Israel condemns Pogosyan's anti-Semitic views, emphasizing that they do not represent the majority. Arman Hakopian, Armenian ambassador to Israel, responded to the report, clarifying that Pogosyan's views are his own and do not reflect the official position of the Armenian government or the sentiments of the majority of civil society. The Jerusalem Post did not contact the Jewish community of Armenia again for first-hand information, relying on Azerbaijani sources for a biased report. Our community condemns Vladimir Pogosyan for his anti-Semitic options, and we do not share his point of view. Our children and sons are currently in the war in Gaza Strip and in the north of Israel. It's essential to remember that from former Soviet republics and Armenia, many half Armenian and half Jewish families have moved to Israel permanently. In our community, hundreds of people are actively protecting Israel alongside Jewish citizens from terrorism. Today, especially during the war, it is unacceptable for the Israeli media to propagate ethnic hatred and Armenophobia. Unfortunately, Jerusalem Post, continuing its working, and did not see fit to contact the Jewish community of Armenia, and instead of relied on Azeri rabbis and diplomats to promote fake news. Moreover, on the 19th of November, again, the same Jerusalem Post published another report. Twice in 2 months, pro-Palestinians set fire to Jewish center in Yerevan, Armenia. The story presented the same biased position, leaning on pro-Azeri perspectives, again without contacting the head of the Jewish community in Yerevan and the rabbi of Mordechai Naavi synagogue in Armenia, to Mr. Gershon Burstein. In this video, I won't speak about the story of Kovos Garden in the Armenian quarter of Jerusalem in the Old City, or the attacks against Armenians by armed Jewish settlers of Jerusalem, with the head of the Xana Capital organization, which is attempting to illegally acquire Armenian land and bring an end of the Armenian presence of 1,700 years in the Holy Land. I must emphasize that my main mission in Israel is to combat ethnic hatred, anti-Semitism, Armenophobia, and other forms of hatred. I aim to bridge the information gap about the beautiful and friendly country of Israel in the Armenian world. I am demanding justice from the Israeli government on behalf of our community. As you can see, the current government does not necessarily represent the sentiments of the Jewish nation. The people in Israel are disconnected with that transpired on October 7th, marking the first massacre of Jewish people on their own land. Thank you, my dear compatriots, friends, colleagues, and followers of my Israeli-Armenian YouTube channel, for your attention. I encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this video, ensuring that the broader audience can access and analyze the information and my personal opinion shared today. Thank you very much.